my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jessica Nicole. I'm a self-published author of YA fantasy romance novels, and in today's video I am so excited because I'm about to start Legendborn. I have been wanting to read this book for months, and I am about to start reading, and I just decided that it would be a fun thing to take you guys along with me on this journey of reading about Bree and this adventure. I've heard so many great things about this book, and I cannot wait to dive into this. Full disclosure, I will be reading this book with my ears, primarily through Audible. I bought this book on Audible a couple months back, and then I got into my physical book era, and so I'm kind of going back and forth with the idea of owning like all the books that I love, have read and loved in both formats, in physical and audio format. Probably ebook too, I don't know. But I will primarily be reading this book with my ears. I have gotten into the habit of annotating, so it's a good thing I've got the physical copy anyway, because I feel like I'm just gonna love this book. Like, I feel like I'm gonna love this book. I already have book 2 on my shelf as well, and I don't know, I just feel like I'm gonna love this book. Plus the book is gorgeous. And I love how they look together on my shelf. So, you know, even if I never opened this book, I would like to have the physical book, just because I like the way that the two books look together on my shelf. And yeah, so I will be basically using this for annotating. I might like listen to a chapter and read a chapter, and listen to a chapter and read a chapter. I don't know. But I love the voice actress that's doing the narration, because she narrated another duology that I love, the Blood Like Magic duology by Lizelle Samberry. But yeah, I'm going to jump into Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I have like 10 days set aside that I can read this, because I really want to read this in March so I can include it in my monthly wrap-up. So I'm going to be reading this basically for the rest of March, and to do that I can read 4 chapters today. I'm not counting the prologue, because I can't count the prologue in my chapter count. It like always throws me off. But I basically need to read on average 6 chapters a day. And one day I can read 4 chapters, and I think I'm going to make that today, because it's like actually pretty late at night right now when I'm recording this. But I'm going to hop into this, and then I will be back with my first impressions.
Really, you coughing too?
Okay, so first impressions of Legendborn. I like the story, I love the characters, I love the premise, and although the plot is moving a little bit slower than I would have liked, I like where the plot is going. I love the lore, how Tracy Deonn was able to connect the lore of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table to this fight against like the forces of shadows and all of this. I love it so much. I am obsessed with Cell. I know he's like the villain or whatever. I know he's like the character that, I mean, he's kind of a jerk though, but I'm just kind of obsessed with him as a character, not so much his role in the story as of yet. I'm only on chapter 19, but I am obsessed with him like just as a character so far. I've been highlighting like the way she crafts words is like so masterful. This is one of the first books that I've been highlighting just her description, and not just like dialogue between the characters. I usually just highlight like lines that I like, but I've been highlighting like the way that she phrases things. And one of them was like towards the very beginning of the book. Let me see if I can find it. But as you can tell, like, I am loving this so far, so. And I am so obsessed with it. So in the very beginning of the book, our main character's name is Bree. The premise of this story is that she gets accepted into this like early college program because of her grades. She applies and gets accepted into this early college program when she's 16. But her mom, freaks out when she tells her she really doesn't want her to go. Her and her mom get into this big fight. And, you know, how it is when you fight with your mom, you blow up, you say stuff you don't mean, and then, you know, you always think you have later to fix it. Well, Bree doesn't have later to fix it because her mom dies before they can make up. Like, her mom literally dies the next day, and that's not a spoiler, that's in the synopsis of the book. But this quote here, I found it, the one I was looking for, says, "Forever, we'll talk later is not the same as we'll never talk again." And that just like gut punched me, because you always think you have later to fix things that go wrong, but sometimes you don't have later. Sometimes later never comes. In this case, later never came. And so Bree and her best friend Alice both get accepted. They're roommates. The first night there, they meet a girl that they know from their hometown. She's a little older than they are, and they go to this like freshman initiation thing where basically people are cliff jumping. Bree and Alice don't cliff jump, but something occurs. The cops get called, and Bree sees something she's not supposed to see. A member of the Legendborn, which they are descendants of King Arthur's knights, sees Bree and knows that she's seen too much, and he tries to kind of wipe her memory of the event that she sees, but it does not work. She doesn't know why it doesn't work. She makes friends with a guy in the Legendborn, and he doesn't know why it doesn't work, but he knows enough to, you know, tell her to keep quiet about it, because if she doesn't, like, things could go really bad. And I'm having a little trouble with the world here. It's very sophisticated. Like, I think this is marketed as a YA fantasy. It is a YA fantasy because the characters are young adult, but it's got a very high fantasy feel, so I'm having to pay very close attention. But I love that. I love that this book is intellectual. It's making me think. But there's basically these scions, and scions have squires. So scions are like the actual descendants of the knights, and then squires are basically like their sidekicks, and Bree is trying to be the sidekick to the guy she's made friends with. She doesn't really want to be the sidekick to the guy she made friends with, but she has this theory that the Legendborn had something to do with her mom's death, or maybe the demons that they fight, because the Legendborn, their whole thing is that they fight demons. So maybe her mom was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the Legendborn had to intervene, and her mom got caught in the crossfire, is what she's thinking happened. And so she's basically trying to infiltrate their secret society to figure out what happened to her mom. And so she's got to do these challenges to become a squire, because lots of people want the job. There's only like 3 or 4 positions open, and there's lots of people vying for it. And yeah, that's the part of the book I'm at now. Long story short, I'm really enjoying this book, and I am excited to keep reading.
I do not have words for how thoroughly I enjoyed this story and this world and these characters. I literally listened to it every spare minute I got. I listened to this huge long book in like 4 days. I annotated so much. I recorded clips on Audible of things that I would want to annotate if I didn't have the book with me, like while I was on the go, and then I'd come back and highlight. I literally annotated whole pages of this book, and I cannot recommend it enough. The characters, the humor, the heart, the lore, the magic system, it was all so beautiful, and the way everything just comes together in the final act is just masterful storytelling.
Okay guys, so long story short, I got sick in the middle of filming this, and I am not fit for, I'm just not fit for eyes. I wasn't fit for anything. I was just fit to listen to the book, and I have enjoyed it so much. I've got like 1.5 chapters left, And I just had to pause this and say that Alice is the real MVP. If you know, you know. Yeah, love Alice. But yeah, I will do like a more in-depth, spoiler-free recap when I am feeling a little bit better. And I loved the first book so much that I am so glad that I have the second, and I'm about to jump right into this. Y'all, I literally have not even made it to the story yet, and I'm already like inspired, obsessed, about to cry. I just want to say, just for anybody, don't be afraid to be the first to do something, to say something, to think something, to create something. Don't be afraid to be the first, and don't be afraid to be the only either. So yeah, my first annotation of Bloodmarked. Here we go. Y'all, I swear if Tracy Dion writes anything, I'm buying it. Like, she's one of those authors that the way that she writes is so, like, it's like so masterful. Like, she's mastered her craft, and it's just so, it's like an experience to read her work. I'm gonna read some of this. This is just the prologue. I haven't even gotten past the prologue. I'm just highlighting up a storm, but I'm gonna read this couple of paragraphs. For context, trying to keep it spoiler free. Bree is basically having a conversation with one of her ancestors, and this is her ancestor speaking to her. We ran for many reasons. We ran to protect ourselves. We ran so we would not die, so that our daughters could live. Vera steps forward, and her voice is slow, rich lava against my skin. But one purpose, one dream, reigns above all others. Do you know what that is, Bree? And Bree says no, and then down at the very last line of the prologue, Vera says, we ran so you would not have to. And I literally, like, audibly, I said, ooh, and it's just, yeah. Like, it's just such an experience to read her work, and I'm already just so invested and sucked in and enjoying myself so much. Okay, so because of what happened at the end of book 1, Bree has been having these visions in book 2, and she just figured out a way that these visions can help her in this mission that she is embarking on about midway through the book. So if you know, you know. So just a little update on Bloodmarked. I am well and truly into the book. I've got about a third left. So I'm confident that I can finish this book this month. The part of the book I'm at now, Bree and the rest of the core four, as I'm calling them, they are at a place called the Crossroads Lounge. They came there to look for someone who could possibly help Bree, because they're down bad at this point, but their plan is kind of like not working out, and I hate it. Like, as a supporter, like as a person that's rooting for Bree, I hate it, but as a reader, I love it because it's so interesting, and you just have no clue what could happen next. Like, this world has so many twists and turns.
and I'm just enjoying the story so far. What I came on here to make this update about is I just love Sel so much. I don't understand how anybody can't be Team Sel at this point. He's so cute, and like he's such a grumpy dude. He's like a grumpy old grandpa. I think Alice calls him in the book, but he'll like soften up for Bree, like anything that he doesn't want to do, if she asks him to do it, he does it, and it's so cute to see. I've been highlighting like crazy. Like I have pages in here where the whole page basically is highlighted. For example, so I am on my way to work now. I'm probably going to take this to work with me, along with my iPad so I can do the audio. But yeah, I am enjoying myself immensely. I think I can probably just do the audio on my work computer though, and I wouldn't have to take the iPad. But yeah, that's my little update on Bloodmarked. I'm screaming right now, y'all. I'm in chapter 52, and if you've read chapter 52, he meant all of them. Oh my god, I literally screamed. He meant all of them. It's so sweet.
I literally highlighted the whole dang page, like seriously. Oh my god.
Y'all, something just happened in chapter 54, and I'm just praying it didn't actually happen. Like, I thought I was crushed at the end of Legendborn when a certain character expired. I will lose it if this character expires in Bloodmarked. If I thought the last one got me, child, this is gonna take me out. So please, please don't do this to me. Oof. Okay, so I was getting my clips together to put them all together because I'm gonna be uploading this video in a couple days. By the time you're seeing this, like, the video was uploaded because it's this part of the video. But anyways, I'm realizing this is like a couple days ago, and I realized that I never filmed like final thoughts for Bloodmarked. So here we go. It's been about a week and a half since I finished the book. I talked about it in my what I read in March video, so you can go check that video out if you haven't already. I talked about both of the books. But if I could give this book, like, if there was a 10 out of 5 stars, like, that's what I would give this book. I loved the first book. The first book is 5 stars, but this one just is on another level. It took everything from the first book and just expanded on it and lit it on fire and basically just blew me away. So I love so many things about this book. I love the characters. I love how we get to learn more about certain characters. Like, we learn more about Sel, we learn more about Bree, we learn more about Nick and Alice and Will, and we get to see we get to see Alice, Will, Sel, and Bree kind of bond and go on this cool, like, road trip. It feels very road trippy, but they're like running for their lives. So yeah, there's that. I liked in this book that, like, the demon hunting, demon fighting stuff was still there, but it was more about, like, the real life demons in Bree's life, and there's secrets and betrayals galore. Like, it was never boring. There was just always something new going on. I loved the way that Tracy Deonn mixed, like, this ancient Welsh lore of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table and his sister and Merlin with just African American culture and, like, folk legends and things that you know, we know in our culture if you're African American. Like, I loved they went to the Crossroads Lounge, and at this point Robert Johnson's Met the Devil at the Crossroads story is as much folklore as it is history at this point. But even if you didn't know the story, like, she had the characters explain it real quick in a way that, you know, you didn't feel lost. You never felt lost, even if you weren't familiar with what she was talking about. I loved how the, like, symbolism behind. So Bree, basically, she gets captured at one point in the book, and a new character we get introduced to, Samira, which is, I don't know, she's running a tight race with Lark, for my favorite new character introduced, but Samira, who is one of the lieges, she's African American as well, and her like leading Bree out of the situation that she was in. I loved how like symbolic that was for like escaping slavery. I loved volition and the symbolism behind that. I just adored this book, if you couldn't already tell. I love how close Sel and Bree got in this book. If you are not Team Sel after this book, I don't know what to tell you. I want them to be together so bad. I especially like the ending of the book, what they sacrifice for each other. It's just palpable how much they mean to each other. I'm so glad we got like the birthday scene between them. There were so many good scenes between them and so many good lines. Like, I highlighted so much in this book. And then I love how Bree kind of like steps into her own when she realizes that, you know, she's kind of been on other people's paths for her, either one side or the other, and she's gonna, I feel like she's just gonna forge her own path now, and she's gaining that control she's been seeking this whole time, and just coming into her own. And I think it's just like a universal story that anybody can relate to, about just growing up and learning who you are and coming into your own. So I love this book, recommend it to anybody. 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, whatever you want to call it. Love it and cannot wait for the second one. Will warn you though, this one kind of ends off on a cliffhanger, and we're in like dire straits at the end of this book. And I loved how the author like makes references to things and she circles back to them. It's things that kind of seem like a one-off when she mentions them the first time, but then she brings them back and you're like, oh, that's why she did that. For instance, what happens like in the middle of the book, where she mentions how demons love making deals, and then what happens at the end of the book, what Bree does at the end of the book, making deals with demons and stuff. Well, with a demon in particular, a demon she should not be making a deal with, but I'm gonna be quiet before I spoil something. But I really wish book 3 was out right now, and you better believe when book 3 is announced, I'm pre-ordering that post haste, because I have to see how this all ends, how this all turns out. But that is going to conclude this video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Legendborn cycle if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.